Will Kamala Harris win the G24 US presidential election on November the 5th, I think it
Okay,
is?
so the card that came out is the second last card in the Major Arcana. It is the Final Judgment. This
Ooh.
is a Judgment Day card. So I'm getting a very strong yes, it
Ooh.
just intuitively.
And we're live! Woo!
Hi, Tim.
And we have a returning guest. And we did at the end of the last interview we had with you, ask you to come back with your tarot cards.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, in the best tradition of these things, Christelle, who's very keen on the idea, can't make it today. So we're going to have to, but we're cut off just for being good timekeepers. We wanted to start on time. I was in the middle of a conversation with you where I was
Yeah.
asking, I'm really worried that you're going to lay out the tarot cards and it's going to say I'm going to be eaten by locust in the next half hour. So before we start doing the whole tarot cards thing, say a little bit about like how tarot card readings work and like should we be worried that you're going to pull the pestilence card out and then
Yeah.
like
The
I'll start
dreaded death card,
out of
right?
out of the interview.
So that's a great question. And of course, and I feel so differently about tarot and reading tarot and even handling tarot cards now than I did in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting question because when I first started reading tarot, there was sort of a different, oh, zeitgeist, a different kind of culture around
Yeah.
how tarot cards are read. And they were a little more doom and gloom. If you pulled a bad card, then you could get this terrible reading. And when I originally bought tarot cards, I spent a lot of time looking for a deck that was much more positive, growth oriented. To me, what's the value of tarot card reading as a tool is that it's going to make you feel better about something. So
Yeah.
it doesn't mean we don't go through challenges, right? That we don't have obstacles in front of us. It just means that sometimes the cards will indicate what's happening in that way, but it depends on the questions that you're asking and the way that you're looking to resolve any potential obstacles that come up. And it's the mindset of the reader and also the filter, like the mental, spiritual filter of the reader, if that makes sense, depending how the reading goes. So you can get a really negative reading.
Yeah.
It depends on how the reader handles the cards that come out. So if I pull a death card, I've never gotten the message that someone was going to die. But the death card comes out on a pretty regular basis for myself, for other people. And it is a major arcana energy. So a significant, it would like if you were playing with regular cards in a card game, those
Yeah.
major arcana cards are like the trump cards. They're the more significant cards. So it is a major energy, but it to me signifies the end of something as a
Yeah.
transformation. So, and moving forward from that. So, something in your life has come to an end and all that entails. There's always challenges around that, of course, but it's a moment of kind of a significant transformation in your life. So, a lot of it is how you read the cards. And that, as I said, has changed a lot over the past couple of decades, anyway, that I've been handling the cards myself. And I've noticed it change.
Yeah.
But it is important to not skip over the challenges and obstacles that come out. I pull cards for myself all the time and like stuff comes out and I'm like, oh, I hate that card. There are cards that I don't like, right? And I'm like, oh, there it
Yeah.
is again. And it's important to not skip over those cards and just accept the message that you're
Yeah.
getting.
So how many cards are in the deck that you've got with you today? And like are the duplicate cards like or are they all individual cards? Like how does how tarot cards work, so to speak?
So in a tarot card deck, traditionally there are 78 cards.
Yeah.
And there are 22 major arcana cards, and they take you through a journey. The first and or last card in this journey, which I think of as cyclical, is doesn't have a number, but sometimes it's given the number 0, and
Yeah.
that's the Fool. The Fool is the beginning. It's a fresh start.
Oh,
It's like that leap off the cliff into the
yeah.
unknown. It involves some risk, but it's also the energy of a new beginning. And then at the very end of the cycle, the 21st card is the World card. And that's sort of like the completion of a major life cycle.
Okay.
And then there's, the whole journey through these 22 trump or major arcana cards. And then the other 56 cards in the deck can be thought of as pip cards, like the
Yeah.
similar to a playing card deck. And there's 16 face cards. So there are 4 kings, 4 queens, 4 knights. It doesn't have to be like gender specific,
Yeah.
but those are sort of the younger, like young adult energy.
Yeah.
And then there are pages, and pages can signify children or messages or some other things. But those are the face cards that can quite often signify a person in the reading. And depending on which suit comes out, that'll give you sort of a different energy. And a lot of readers also connect the different suits with different astrological signs so that it can help a person kind of follow a reading or connect a reading to real people in their life. And then the other 40 cards in the pip cards are like in the suits of wands, cups, swords, and pentacles or
Yeah.
coins. Those are the 4 different elements or 4 different energies. There are cards 1 to 10. And they each carry a different meaning. And so each card in the 78 card deck has a different meaning. But of course, I think the magic of reading tarot well is that you kind of connect to your own intuition and learn as many different meanings of these cards as you can, so that when 2 cards are laid together or are crossing one another or have proximity to one another in the reading, or if you use cards to clarify a main card that came out, the meanings of the various cards work together. So you might have 2 cards that come out that both signify the energy of healing in some way,
Yeah.
for example. So then that becomes a prominent energy that comes out with the message. So there are literal meanings to learn for the cards, but sort of the art of it is in a couple of things. I think it's in putting together the meanings when the cards come out in proximity or come out to clarify one another, and also just getting really in touch with your own intuition. So a lot of readers develop their lateral thinking, like their creative thinking and their own intuition as they're working with the cards, because you do start to get like more clairaudient, for one thing.
Yeah.
You do kind of like hear certain things, certain messages that very strongly come through when you pull certain cards. And you have to, if you're open to that, and if you're kind of a clear channel for it, and you can kind of move yourself out of the way a little bit, like your own interests or agendas or preoccupations while you're reading for someone else. If you can be as clear a channel as possible for messages, then that works even better.
Okay.
That's the long answer.
No, it's fine. I mean, you kind of put me on the spot because I'm like, oh yeah. So the way that this would normally work is that I would ask you, I ask you questions and then you deal the cards to get the answer. Now, what sort of questions should I be asking? Should I be asking open-ended questions, or can I ask you like who would win the presidential election kind of question? Like, how does it work in terms of like what the most useful use of asking questions to a tarot card reader would be?
It's really funny when you just said that question accidentally, or as an example, who's going to win the election? I was thinking of the American election, and the King of Swords kind of popped out. The King of Swords is an authoritative figure. So it could be someone more connected to the law. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, and there's the. Okay, we'll stop just shuffling for now. You can ask anything, and you can ask yes and no questions. Sometimes you will get a direct answer. So when I'm reading any card with a single sword on it, to me signifies a strong yes answer. Sometimes the answer is not a sword card, though. It's just it's a card with a different meaning. So, like swords are your thoughts and your communication, your words. Cups are feelings and emotions. Wands are the actions we take, the work we do in the world, things that inspire us, our creativity. And pentacles, the coins, those are all of the material matters, right? Like the bills we have to pay, where we live, anything that's like a material concern comes out in the coin cards.
Okay, well, I'll start with a general one, which hopefully you won't pull out a card saying I'm going to drop dead tomorrow, which is like, what is my life going to be like in the next year?
So we're at a disadvantage because you can't I can't cut the deck and let you pull a card.
Oh, yeah.
But
Well,
okay.
I mean, well, under the proviso, this might not work because we're doing it electronically. We'll just at least establish what the kind of thing will be like. So,
Let's see what comes out.
yeah. Then I can ask about who in between Trump and
If the death card comes out, I'm going to die laughing. Let's not ask anything about that.
I mean, like, I suppose, like, there is a question about whether tarot reading should be public or not. I mean, I suppose it can't. It doesn't really.
Usually
If
it's
I do get eaten by locusts next week and you pulled out the death and locust cards or something, it'd be interesting.
ask something that is just like a public domain type question. Um, something that the answer is not going to be seriously reflecting on you one way or the other. I mean,
Well, okay. Will this show
oh
take
my
off?
gosh, Tim, this flipped out, which is hilarious.
Ooh.
The Eight of Swords is you stuck in your head.
Oh, yes. That is true.
That's amazing. Oh, I love Tara. Okay.
Well, okay. Let me ask the boring U.S. election question. Let's do that to start
Oh,
with, and then
God.
you've got a 50%. Well, the way they change your candidates all the time, it could be like, and you'll say, "Oh, RFK is going to win the election."
I already hate the energy of that. Okay. All right. So, what's the question? I'll pull any cards that pop out in the meantime, but what is the question?
Okay. Well, will Kamala Harris win the 2024 US presidential election on November the 5th, I think it
Okay.
is?
So, the card that came out is the second last card in the Major Arcana. It is the Final Judgment. This
Ooh.
is a Judgment Day card. So I'm getting a very strong yes. It just intuitively, um, yeah, yes. I'm getting a very strong yes. So this could be um, in part kind of referring to all of the legal troubles that the other candidate has
Yeah.
had and is having. It could also refer to Kamala's background as a prosecutor and a lawyer. I'm getting a very decisive yes, and it feels like it's backed up by a decisively big movement of people. That's what I'm getting with that.
Okay. Well, that's
It
kind of
doesn't,
clear. And like in
yeah,
November
very,
time, it's like,
yeah, that's super clear.
um,
Ugh.
okay. All right, let's try and find something a bit more. My
You could
mind.
ask about travel. You could ask about, anything that's kind of an everyday, just activity or things that you wonder about.
Okay. So, like next year, Where should I travel to in the world?
Oh,
I mean,
where?
I've got somewhere this year I'm going to, which I'm not going to tell you about because it might. I'm
I don't
traveling.
know if I can get a where should I travel answer, but we'll try. We'll try. I don't know that the cards are going to give me a location.
I don't like words. I mean, it sounds like a lot of it is interpretation of the cards.
Well, the cards are not really geared toward giving me geographical locations.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Can you rephrase the question according to the travel you have in mind?
Okay. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, did you
I'm
accidentally
just
put a
waiting
card?
to hear that. I want to hear the question that you have in mind.
Should I travel to the US or
Well,
should I travel to Mexico
okay.
next year?
Whatever you were thinking a moment ago before you asked the question, like I had two single swords pop out. So the Queen of
Ooh.
Swords and the Page of Swords. So to me, those are yes cards. But you asked, should I do this and should I do? Maybe that's two yeses. Yes, you should, and yes, you should.
Well, yeah. Well,
Um,
I'm happy to go everywhere, so I suppose that's the.
um, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get like a specific location, but yeah, strong yes is there. Whatever you were thinking, whatever was in your mind before you formulated the question, or if it's both places you're wondering about, Mexico and the U.S., two yeses came out clearly.
The trouble is with me, it's like I probably will travel to both next year anyway.
So you're asking questions you know the answer to. The cards
Yeah.
are like jumping out, going yes.
Can I ask a when question? Would a when question?
Oh yeah, you can.
It might be a when as in never, but when will this show get over 1,000 subscribers so I can actually earn some 20p or whatever it is from advertising on YouTube specifically?
So I'm going to say a couple things about that. So pentacles are years,
Ooh.
cups are months, swords are weeks, and wands are days. But I'm also going to say this: timing with anything, whenever you're dealing with anything intuitively, timing in the here and now is always changeable.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's very hard to pin down. Always, always. But we're going to ask the question anyway. All right. 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 subs.
Yes. I think it's
When
like
will this channel get to 1,000 subs? And then maybe we'll ask a question about how to get there. Okay.
Interview more tarot card readers.
We have the Nine of Pentacles, but in reverse. Okay. That is a very long time. That'd be like 9 years. So how can Tim get to 1,000 subscribers quickly? How about that question?
Yeah, that's 9 years doesn't
More
sound like.
yeah, and it's in reverse. It's a very long time. Okay. Okay, something fell out, but I'm just gonna keep shuffling for a second. It's not turned over, so I'll have to look at it in a second. Okay. Oh, two cards. Oh, interesting. Picked them up this way. Okay. So the sun came out. This is a great card. It's the happiest card in the deck. Actually, it's you got two major arcanas that came out, so that's pretty cool. The sun is could be about travel. It is about development, expansion. So it's definitely about building your channel. But I'm getting something about travel here. Focus on travel, focus on, all right, and the sun, focus on a brighter, I don't know, like a brighter, happier kind of content about travel, something just like it feels like lighter, brighter. Um, Fool in reverse.
Ooh. The reverse is an upside down, presumably. Slightly.
In reverse, sometimes I read them in reverse. In reverse could be like, don't take. Right, I'm going to actually look that up, but I'm going to say it is. Don't. You know how people say, look before you leap? It's like
Yeah.
that kind of energy. Look before you leap. But it feels like it's related to travel. I'm also going to look that up for you too, because there's a little book here.
Okay.
Reverse.
Is there like a book of? Show us the book. Is there a book of like tarot? Ooh.
Well, this is with a different deck, but it's similar. They're both the Rider Waite
Yeah.
style. It says hesitation when given an opportunity. Oh, no trust. Okay, so here's the block. The block is hesitation when given an opportunity, lack of trust, being preoccupied and worried about what others think. Oh, ding, 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 ding. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what it feels like for this. So it feels like there should be a focus on travel and expansion. How to expand yourself through. You do a lot of travel and you do a lot of conferences, and I know that just from being your friend.
Yeah.
So um, you are learning a lot more and taking in a lot more than you are like letting us know about or creating content about. And I think there's a concern there about revealing too much, or what will people think, or will people think I'm,
Yeah.
whatever. Concern about what people will think. I think if you get rid of that, if you can manage that differently, this is going to take off.
Yeah. Well, that
That's
kind
what
of.
it absolutely feels like.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I've got two other channels.
Yeah.
One
Oh,
of
you got
which
two
is
others. Okay.
travel based, and
Yep.
probably is the one I should be concentrating. The other is Book Chat Live, where I talk to people about their
Oh,
favourite books. And
okay.
ironically, next week I'm starting another season of that, and the woman I'm talking to is a travel influencer woman. So that's kind of somebody who actually makes money from travel. I go in, but I'm not actually interviewing on this show yet. I
Yep.
might try and work it. So it's kind of interesting that. I mean, the answer may be not to focus on this show at all, but maybe that's what the cards are trying to say. Who knows?
Well, I think it's saying that there is whichever show you focus on. Here, I did definitely get like I heard travel,
Yeah,
and this card can represent travel, but this is expansion in anything.
yeah,
This is a really excellent card to get. It's fortuitous. This is definitely 1,000 subs. This is more than 1,000 subs.
yeah,
Um, but the energy, the block that came out with it, which is also a major arcana card, so they're equally significant, is the Fool in the reverse. So you're hesitating, you're having too many concerns about what other people will think. And I also got the message that you have a lot more to say. And I
yeah,
think that might be the part that is being held back. And it almost connects to me, for me, the way that you carefully considered, over considered what
yeah,
question to ask. If you can find a way to get past those concerns or manage them or figure out like how you can tackle it so you're putting yourself out there more vulnerably. I think that's the ticket. You know, the one thing about the sun card is that the baby on this card is totally naked, naked
yeah,
baby. So this card is also about that kind of vulnerability that
yeah,
draws people in, right? It's that humanness that connects all of us. So that might be, one of the things holding back the growth of your subs. Just any hesitation that you might have around whatever ideas are going around in your mind about what you could do with your channel or channels, what you would like to do, but then you kind of stop yourself for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. I think there's. I can certainly. I can certainly understand that, and in the very least, even the cards aren't saying it. It's kind of like I think that's sounds reasonable.
Well, do you have ideas for your channels that you regularly sort of shelve for those reasons because you think like this might not be something that the people who already are subs would enjoy, or people might think I'm a bit like me here doing tarot reading. I have to momentarily deal with the fact that some people think this is crazy, including my parents.
Yeah.
There's that consideration.
I mean, I have also. I'm somebody who has more ideas than. Well, I probably do. I have more time than I let myself. I could do a lot more things, but I do get a bit in the headlights. I think sometimes with ideas.
And where are
Um,
you like not taking risk? Where are you
well,
hesitating because of the risk involved?
yeah. No, I think that's probably fair. Um, I think we asked it. I think we asked this in the last show, but
Okay.
it suddenly occurred to me. We might as well repeat it. I might as well repeat it. How did you get into tarot in the first place? Because you've been doing this for a while, to the point where you. I'm not sure if you're still doing it at the moment, but I know you were doing readings for people on
On
TikTok
and
and
off.
Instagram and other places. Like, how did you get started in tarot in the first place? And when did you kind of think, oh, I want to start sharing this with other people?
I played around with tarot and just kind of delved into it and learned about it for many years before I ever shared it with anybody,
Yeah.
and even let anybody know that I was like learning about it and delving into it because I had those same like full card in reverse concerns,
Yeah.
hesitation. Like I don't trust people to let them know that they might judge me and all this stuff. I started I've always had an interest in, I guess, like any tools like this. I am a very spiritual and intuitive person.
Yeah.
I've sort of gotten more in tune with that with age and throughout my life. So I first, wow, I don't know when I first got interested, but I first picked up a deck in I want to say 1997.
Uh-huh.
And it was after major life transition I was going through at that time. And I think I was just kind of searching around for lots of different tools and different jobs and just trying out different things. And as I say, I played around with it and learned about it for a lot of years before I ever shared it. And it was only in the last several years that I picked the cards up again and got serious about them again. And I kind of, like I almost think of it this way, like they should be fun and they should give you messages that encourage you and inspire you and help
Yeah.
you. And I don't have any party tricks, but I can read a tarot spread for you. So that's my party trick.
Yeah. And personally, do you think you can read your own future with the cards, or do you feel that because it's your own kind of future, that makes it harder to do, to read your own fortune, so to speak?
Oh, it's so much harder, right? Because we have to, I mean, I would say I can do it to an extent. Um, Often I don't like the cards that come out.
Yeah.
And I have to deal with that. And I'm like, oh, I don't like these. And I get some of the same cards over and over because they're so me. And I really dislike those cards.
Yeah.
So you can read for yourself, but you have to be a little bit brutally honest about what you see and without judgment, just like go, yeah, I am in that energy again. Here
Yeah.
I am again doing this. And, if you take it that way and um, you can kind of look in the mirror at yourself that way, it's really useful. But I think there are always limitations on reading for yourself. Always, always, because those are our greatest blind spots We have big blinders on where we are concerned ourselves. Although I work at removing those blinders as much as possible, but we absolutely have them, so it's more limiting.
And do you think that I suppose I probably know the answer to this, but do you think that fate is something that we can affect by our decisions and our actions? So that if you have a bad reading of the cards, but you actually act on the fact that the cards are telling you, like get over this thing, and you do get over that thing, like what do you think? Like the cards are just showing us what's going to happen anyway, or they are more like a warning? This is what's going to happen unless you change your behaviours.
What a magnificently loaded question. Let's start with the idea of fate. Do I even believe in fate? I'm not sure I believe in fate. I'm not sure there's a set destiny for any of us. I truly believe in free choice. And with limitations, of course. We all live in the world where we have limitations around us everywhere. But we also have, let's say, a light inside of us. We also have something greater than the limitations around us. So we always have the ability to transcend or move beyond obstacles and struggles that we're in. It doesn't mean it happens quickly or easily, but we can always do that. So when there's a difficult reading, and I have a favorite tarot reader that I've used for many years, who lives in France, and I just love her. And most of my readings with her are challenging because of the things I'm asking her, right? They're things I'm truly discontented with. I'm not looking for the feel-good reading. I'm looking for the true, the clear reading. And I find value in it because I don't think seeing the challenges around you or the struggle that you're in is sort of disheartening or discouraging. I think it can help us to reset and give us strength, and just bit by bit, we can always kind of circumvent problems or surmount them. So do I believe in fate? Not necessarily, but definitely we all face moments that feel like we're cornered somewhere and we just have to find our way around it or out of it. And can a reading help with that? I think it can, even a challenging reading, especially if we really don't like the cards that come out because we're in a difficult spot. But if we can be honest enough with ourselves to say, okay, some of that resonates, some of that is absolutely reflecting the situation I'm in. But you have to be choosy. I think you have to pick tarot readers who are heart-based, who are intuitive, who are wise. I mean, there are a lot of readers out there that are not necessarily those things. That's just my personal opinion. If you choose a reader who has got some experience and some wisdom in life, they're going to know what kind of follow-up questions to ask that can give you helpful information whenever you have some difficult energies around you that come out in the cards, or a difficult situation that gets represented in the cards in the reading. They know how to kind of steer the reading in a direction to give you something useful to work with in the reading. And I think that's really important, for readers who are doing this full time. For people, the very best ones have that in mind, that they're like what I call light workers, just people who are helping other people in the world intentionally. So they're kind of out there doing that intentionally. And like anything, some of them are more skilled than others. Some of them are more clearer channels than others are. Some are more intuitive than others. Some are just have a very practiced format they use, which works. You have to kind of go with your own intuition. And if something in a reading does not resonate with you, and my rule is if it makes you feel worse than when you arrived, chuck it. Don't take it home with you. Absolutely not. The purpose is to kind of look at the energies and then figure out how you can move from that point forward. And I think a good reader will take a reading in that direction when challenging cards come out, because of course they do. We all go through, different challenging situations.
Okay. And to reiterate, you've got Tina at tc.intuitive.tarot. Is that on tarot even? What is that on Instagram or TikTok? Where can people, if they want to get in touch with you for the tarot card reading stuff?
Yeah.
How can they do that? Where can they find you?
I have a website, and it is also probably my most readings for sure on TikTok at that address. And I have a sparse Instagram account for this one that I don't often use, but I may use more in the future. It's my goal in the coming 12 months to do some readings for people and to start to do this a bit as a way to help people. And part of it is the readings, and part of it is, the life experience and wisdom and intuitive messages that come through for people.
Okay, that sounds very worthy. Thanks so much for being a guest on the show again today. And it's been very, very interesting to actually see some proper tarot cards and some readings. And I don't think I'm going to be killed by locust in the next 20 minutes.
There's no locust in the cards.
Thanks so much for being a guest, and thanks to everybody who watched live and everybody who's going to watch in the future. Hopefully, when you're all subscribed and I go up to 1,000 after I overcome my inhibitions, asking people to subscribe. Please subscribe.
Well, once you unlock those amazing ideas that you have to share with people, how could they resist?
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks so much for everybody watching. Thanks.
Thanks, Tim.
This is what God requires.
I think being consistent. That has to be something that everybody needs to be aware of. You can't just put a video up and then walk away and not do it for another couple of months, or not even think about the video, because it's about consistently checking on the video. Because the great thing about YouTube, unlike the other social channels, is that your video lasts forever.